Hello, myself Sunil R Nair. Here basically we are discussing about one topic, that is earthquakes, and that is 100% going to happen. Now, like this basically, one person told that yeah, everywhere basically earthquake, everywhere basically earthquake is happening. But in India basically it is not happening. Then few people basically came to India and basically they checked basically yeah, why in India basically earthquake is not happening. So the people who watched this video basically, they basically not gone into the tectonic plate side. They basically watched Sunil R Nair's video. They basically had not gone to the tectonic plate side. They basically directly went to the energy side basically. Which all are the energy basically? For example, 10 crore metrics basically are handled in the India basically. So they directly basically went to that matrix basically. So which type of matrix basically they are? Which type of matrix they are? That basically earthquake is not happening in India basically. For example, we will see the latest earthquake. Just see. I will just connect to internet. Connected. Now basically just see. See. Currently basically Indonesia is having, Philippines is having, but India when India basically got the earthquake. Can you see that? That is the India and Bangladesh. Then after that basically there was any earthquake? No basically. After that Assam basically got the earthquake, right? After that there was no earthquake basically. But just see basically Philippines just see, Mexico see, USA see basically, Turkey see basically. But India basically it does not have any earthquake. So one person basically asked literally the question here basically. He basically first of all see this map basically, where actually India is. Then he pointed that here basically might be some India basically in this place. Then he told that yeah, in this place basically what actually, which type of energy we have dumped, that basically in India basically the earthquake is not happening. That means India land is created basically, India has created the Indian blood cells with the help of the Indian blood cells data basically. Lots of countries basically are created over there basically. Because this is the only way basically you can say that basically earthquake is not happening. The reason I will tell you. For example, in India basically there are around 10 crore metrics, right? So you want to say that 10 crore metrics basically are connected with the satellites and the set of countries basically. That countries are also basically supporting the India basically. Then he told that might possible basically. This also basically. So basically they basically literally done the research basically. Why the earthquake is not happening in India basically. So they literally basically studied each and every 10 crore matrix basically, which was basically dumped in India, is each and Delhi basically, in Parliament House basically, and then basically in the new Parliament House, then basically in Supreme Court, in High Court basically, each and every place basically, each and every temple basically they search, each and every mosque basically, each and every church basically. This why basically earthquake is not happening here? Because there was they actually felt that basically is there any god power basically in India basically that earthquake basically is not happening. Then basically they told that basically there are basically 2 to 50 floors building basically in India, but in India basically earthquake is not happening. In Mumbai basically 250 floors basic buildings are basically there, but in Mumbai basically earthquake is not happening. So he was shocked basically. He was shocked basically. He was basically a US person basically. He told that basically we are so technically so powerful, technology wise basically very powerful basically, technical team basically are very powerful of our country. Then also basically the our team also basically is not able to track the your earthquake basically why it is not happening. They are not able to track that 10 crore metrics basically. They were literally shocked here basically. Why? Then basically they went to this track basically, the railway track basically. Then they thought that basically how basically trains basically are working here. How basically train are running basically. They basically seen each and every track. Then basically they saw basically how many how many countries basically are giving the power supply to the railway. They basically thought that basically more than basically 100 countries basically are giving the power supply to the this is basically one railway track basically of India. And then basically they track that basically how many satellites basically are giving the data to this railway track. Like this basically each and everything basically they track basically. Actually how basically they basically track that also basically how many government group basically admin group basically are there sitting where basically they are doing work from home or not basically. Each and every they track basically. They track that also basically. That few government group basically are opened few private companies basically. From there basically they are running the governments basically. That also he tracked basically. But he want to track basically why earthquake was not happening basically. Why earthquake was basically not happening. That actually he want to track. That earthquake basically why the earthquake is not happening, that he wanted to track basically. So that was the reason basically why then basically they told that basically in railway basically we have created more than 120 planets, and 120 planets basically are connected here basically. See basically track basically there are basically 120 planets you can see basically here, but that only basically connects when the train basically are running. When trains basically in the train basically are running with the 3 to 4,000 people, that time basically the earthquake the 120 planets basically connects in the train track basically. Like this basically in India basically more than 1 lakh tracks are basically there. So each 1 lakh tracks basically are handled by this 120 planets basically. 120 planets data basically. You will be shocked basically by seeing this number data only basically. Then basically he told that yes basically we want to check here basically how basically in India the earthquakes is not happening. How basically each and every 250 floor building basically in Mumbai basically how it is standing basically. We want to do research basically. So they literally came to Mumbai and basically they saw basically these 250 floor buildings basically. Each floor basically contains 15 crore. Like this each and everything basically they checked that 15 crore rupees is basically of this each floor each flat basically. So how many basically floors are basically there? There are 250 floors basically in Mumbai city land basically. Sorry, in one of the building in Mumbai city. So like this basically they tracked each and everything basically. And one of the people basically told that basically few power supply in Mumbai basically are coming from the helicopters and from the planes basically. He was shocked basically that how basically in Mumbai basically few house basically a few buildings are basically getting the power supply from planes. So in detail basically we are going to discuss basically this each and everything basically how Mumbai is basically getting the power supply and how basically the land is getting controlled and there is no earthquake is basically happening in India basically, and how the basically railway track of how the 1 lakh railway track of India basically is not having earthquakes. That is basically a train is not moving the left side and train is not moving to right side basically. What is that basically in detail basically we are going to see in next video.